When you're on a ship way out in the middle of the ocean, it can feel like you're a million miles from anything. But what you don't see is this incredible, almost invisible web of training, technology, and procedures, all designed to keep you safe if the absolute worst should happen. So let's pull back the curtain on that system. It's a pretty dramatic, heart-stopping question, isn't it? For sailors, though, it's not some hypothetical. It's the moment that all of their training has been leading up to. So what actually happens? Let's break it down step by step.
Right. The first thing you've got to understand is that maritime safety isn't just about what you do in a crisis. It's this deeply ingrained culture of prevention that starts the very moment a crew member even steps on board.
At the very heart of all this is a principle called PSSR. That stands for Personal Safety and Social Responsibility. Honestly, you can think of it as the bedrock for everything else. It's an internationally required standard that basically says every single person on board is responsible, not just for themselves, but for their crewmates and for the ocean itself. So what does that actually look like day to day? Well, it's a constant commitment. It's endless training, always using the right gear, and running those emergency drills over and over and over again. The goal here is to make the response so automatic that panic doesn't even have a chance to set in. It's all about building a team that can communicate perfectly, especially when things get intense. And just to be clear, these aren't just, good ideas. These principles are locked into international maritime law. They're governed by huge conventions like SOLAS, which literally means Safety of Life at Sea, and STCW, which sets the rules for training globally. This stuff isn't optional. It's a highly regulated worldwide system.
Okay, but what happens when all that prevention isn't enough? When something goes catastrophically wrong and all that training gets put to the ultimate test?
This is the sound you never want to hear. 7 short, sharp blasts on the ship's alarm, followed by one long, continuous one. It's a universal signal that's designed to cut through any noise, any activity, anywhere on the ship. That sound is the General Emergency Alarm. And it's an unmistakable command. Stop whatever you're doing, drop everything, and get to your assigned muster station now. Every single crew member knows exactly where their station is and what their job is because it's all written down on the muster list. Suddenly, the drills are very, very real. And believe me, the clock is ticking. From the second the order to abandon ship is given, regulations say the entire crew has to be able to board their survival craft in just 3 minutes. That's it. That's how fast, how efficient, and how practiced this process has to be. Getting everybody to the right spot on the ship is one massive challenge. But getting them safely off a ship that might be sinking, well, that's another story. And that requires some truly incredible technology. So let me introduce you to the TempSick. It's a mouthful. Totally enclosed, motor-propelled survival craft. It's way easier to just think of it as a high-tech survival pod for the ocean. We're not talking about your grandpa's little wooden rowboat here. This thing is a serious piece of advanced engineering. And the specs on these things are seriously impressive. They can move at a minimum of 6 knots for at least 24 hours straight on their own fuel. Some of the bigger models can carry up to 150 people. They aren't just built to escape, they're built to endure. But maybe their most amazing feature is this. If a huge wave flips one of them completely upside down in a storm, as long as all the hatches are sealed tight, they are designed to pop right back upright in under 30 seconds. That is an absolutely critical feature when you're trying to survive. The launch process itself is like a carefully choreographed dance. There's no room for making it up as you go. From pulling the big securing pins to everyone getting on board and lowering it down, every single step is a drilled and practiced procedure built for one thing: speed and safety. But the most crucial moment is getting the boat into the water and then away from the ship. And for that, you need 2 different systems. In calm seas, you use the offload release once the boat is floating peacefully. But in a storm, when massive waves are slamming your little craft against the ship's hull, that's when the onload system is an absolute lifesaver. It lets the crew release the hooks while they're still holding the boat's full weight, which is essential for making a clean, fast getaway. So once the survival craft is clear of the ship, a whole new phase begins: staying alive and getting found. You might feel like you're adrift, but the truth is, you are definitely not alone. Modern survival is all about this lifeline of technology. And yeah, it comes with a lot of acronyms. First, you've got the EPIRB. It automatically starts sending your exact location to a satellite.
Then there's a SART, which makes you show up as a bright, clear target on the radar of any rescue ship or plane. And finally, the HRU is the ultimate failsafe. It makes sure life rafts deploy automatically, even if the ship goes down too fast for anyone to act. It's a system with backups for its backups, all to make sure you get found. And inside every single one of these survival crafts is a meticulously packed kit of essentials. I mean, we're talking high-energy food rations, fresh water, flares, smoke signals to get attention, and of course, first aid supplies. It's everything you could need to stay alive until help arrives. And here's a fascinating, super practical detail right from the training manuals. One of the very first things they tell you to do is to take an anti-seasickness tablet. Why? Because in a survival situation, dehydration is a massive threat. Getting seasick will just make it happen that much faster. It's such a small detail, but it can make a huge, huge difference. So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, you realize it's not just one thing that saves lives at sea. It's this seamless combination of people, procedure, and technology all working together. It really all comes down to these three pillars. You have the people who are grounded in a culture of safety from day one. You have the procedures, which are drilled into muscle memory so there's no hesitation. And you have the technology, which is engineered to work in the worst conditions imaginable. Each pillar is absolutely essential, and they all support each other. And that, right there, is the key takeaway. From that very first safety briefing to the satellite signal from an EPRB pinging in space, this entire global system has one single goal: to turn a potential disaster into a story of survival. It's this complex and honestly deeply reassuring web of safety that's always operating, just out of sight. So the next time you look out at all that open water, it's worth remembering that unseen system, the one that makes the ocean far less empty and far more survivable than it looks.